And that's where we go into a little bit of tricky territory, because you could argue and say, yes, says who? This is just a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo speak. I would agree with you. I would agree with you wholeheartedly if I was still the maiden. But now that I have become the mother, and I have willingly put myself through the spiritual awakening process, and now I've come out on the other side, the master, now I have direct experience. You can ask me any question about the whole spiritual awakening process. You can ask me any questions about going from mom to master. And I wouldn't have to tell you, wait a minute, let me check this book and let me see if the information is there. No, I have direct experience. I have become the higher self. I have restored that connection to the universal mind. Now I can tap into it. And when you become the higher self, you can speak from it with your heart without having to second guess if what I'm saying is true. So when you have the direct experience, you will know. And then it doesn't matter anymore if people are against it, if people are for it, if people are supporting it. You're just wanting to line up with those who feel the same, or at least curious enough to go in that same direction and want to just know how to do it themselves. You will no longer be in a debate because you'll be free. You'll be free to be yourself because now you know where it is you're going. You're moving towards your higher self. And motherhood just accelerated that process. There are spiritual teachings that said it was in the book Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawking. He wrote in the book that when you are born, you are already born on a certain level of consciousness. So he has this whole graph, and his graph goes from 0, I think, to 1,000. I'm just saying it out of the top of my head, from 0 to 1,000. And so I think at the level of 500, you become enlightened. And then there's 600, 700, 800. And I think 1,000 is like if you like a highly enlightened master. And there are not a lot of many cases of that. And then he mentioned that people like Albert Einstein, they were on 499. So they were mentally on an intellectual level enlightened, but that 99 meant that there was a part of direct experience and embodiment was missing. That's why it was 499. And so according to Dr. David Hawkins, he says that when you are born on a certain level of consciousness, and it will only grow maybe 10%. 10% was very, very generous. So from the moment you are born, you're already on a certain level of consciousness, and then you will only grow another 5 to 10%. You will expand, not more than that. And I was thinking to myself, so if you're someone, according to his philosophy, if you're someone who's on level 200, or if you're someone on the level angry or hate, and that's like your default position, 300, and you only grow 10%, what does that mean? That you're always going to oscillate between 300 and 400 and will never ever directly experience 500, 600? And I'm not debating here if that's true or false because I have no idea. This is what I read. But I have direct experience to know that it's safe to say about myself that before I became a mother, now that I think about it and I'm trying to connect the dots, I think I was on a low level of consciousness, even though I was a very happy person. I have always been a very happy person. So maybe when I was born, I was on a high level of consciousness, but then life happened, experiences happened, and my level of consciousness lowered. And then maybe I was at a baseline of between 300 or 400. I'm just guessing, and I'm just using these numbers to give you something tangible to hold on to. But what I can tell you without a doubt, if I was hypothetically on 300 or 400, on the numbers between 300 and 400, I'm pretty sure if I had not become a mother, I would still be there. I would still be there. So in that sense, I have direct experience to understand what Dr. David Hawkins meant with you are on a certain level of consciousness and you don't really grow out of it. But what I hardly hear anybody speak about, especially male spiritual teachers, is what happens to a woman when she becomes a mother. And now it's becoming more mainstream. Now people are finally speaking up about it. And I think this is where Isaac Newton's law of inertia? Was it his law? I gotta look it up. Hold on. This is where Isaac Newton's first law of motion comes in. Inertia. Let me read it to you from Google. An object at rest remains at rest, and an object in motion remains in motion at constant speed and in a straight line unless acted on by an unbalanced force. Acted on by an unbalanced force. You get knocked out of your comfort zone. What is that unbalanced force that happens to us when we go from maiden to mother? Our child. And it creates such havoc, such a dramatic change within us that our mind has to catch up with what has happened. But when our mind does catch up with what has happened to our body, the mind transforms into the master. And that's when it becomes really, truly fun. When you acknowledge that to yourself. So in the Fabulous One philosophy, I've broken it up into 3 phases. Phase 1 is the small awakening. Phase 2 is the big awakening, and phase 3 is total transformation. So in phase 1, it's all about the maiden waking up to herself, waking up to the soul. And if the story has never been told to you in this way before, it means that the maiden, just like myself, will walk around on earth, dazed and confused, trying to find herself, trying to listen to the collective unconscious, trying to listen to everybody in her environment, trying to do the things that everybody tells her that she needs to do, trying to copy what other people are doing to see if that's what she wants to do for herself, but never have a true, clear idea of who she is and what she wants and where she's going. And then, based on that philosophy, based on that foundation, we seek a partner who's then equally as ignorant as we are, because that's the only way when 2 people can really truly line up, when they're both of the same vibration. And then we start a family together. And we wonder why we are in the predicament we are in today. And that's because we really, truly do not know who we are on a metaphysical level. And that's the information you need right now. That's the knowledge you need right now. Because of this unbalanced force, you are now knocked off out of your comfort zone. And you are now forced to build that foundation. And what I'm offering with Fabulous One Philosophy is to retell the story to yourself. Don't go back to the past. Don't try to recreate the past, but build a new story. A new story that empowers you. A new story that puts motherhood back on top. The story that allows you to tap into your inner master and come out the winner, because that story is there. But society or the collective unconscious is hush hush about it. You can't remember who you really are. And so now you can use the direct experience of motherhood to awaken your mind. And once the mind remembers she is the soul, she will restore herself in her rightful position. She will become the riverbed again. She will become the riverbed again. And she will be able to hold the divine feminine energy. She will be able to hold yin again in her arms. Because of it, peace and balance will be restored. So motherhood woke up yin, woke up the divine feminine energy, and placed her outside of the box, which is a phenomenal thing. Because when she goes outside of the box, it means that the matrix has no hold over her. But if your mind doesn't play ball, if your mind wants to go back to the past, if your mind wants to go back to the same old, she's going to force the body to shrink. She's going to force the divine feminine energy to make herself small. And even though it will feel so uncomfortable and so tight, and it feels like you can't breathe, you are going to listen to your mind. Because that's your mind. And your mind is going to tell you, no, that's not, you're not doing the right thing, yin. You're not doing the right thing, divine feminine energy. You need to shrink it back down again. And if you accept that, that's what's going to create the resistance. Because you just expand it to a higher level of consciousness, to a new version of you that you have yet to discover who that person is, but your mind is trying to put you back in the box. And so motherhood is literally making you a new version of you, is creating a new version of you. And when you learn the metaphysics of motherhood, when you learn the Fabulous One philosophy, you're going to understand that this is just the beginning. More things are going to happen. More expansion is on its way. Because everything is designed to move you towards your higher self. But motherhood has accelerated that process now. And so you can jump on this ride and see where this adventure is going to take you. Or you can become afraid and jump off. But you're going to have resentment. You're going to have jealousy. You're going to have anger. Because you're going to see other women who jumped on the ride. And you're going to look at them and think, where are they going? What are they doing? What are they so happy about? Why are... That's dangerous. And maybe you become even so radical to say, whatever it is they're jumping on, we should destroy that. We should get rid of that. So basically the spiritual path towards your higher self. The philosophical understanding of who you are, we should get rid of that. The metaphysics of motherhood, we should get rid of that. And so, to close this video, what does that mean? That's why society has created the words from maiden to mother to crone. Because they try to cut off our true journey towards the higher self. Because the crone isn't an evil old witch. The crone is a magnificent master. And that's who you are becoming. So you can allow this process of motherhood to take you in that direction and surrender to the process. Or you can be in complete resistance, stick to what physical science and psychology are telling you about what's happening within you, and just deny the direct experience that you are having of expansion, and label it something so that you can put yourself back in the box. Which way are you going to go? Which way are you going to choose? The master or the matrix?